So I decided that I wanted to document my financial journey just because I want to keep track of how I ended up where I am now and this journey that I'm on, and of course, keep me motivated going forward. So, first significant date is February of 2022. So, my father passed away in January, late January of 2022, and in February, we were just taking care of all of his things and his estate. And what we found out was that he really worked hard. And my dad was did they say spendthrift? He did not spend a lot of money at all. And he always talked about wanting to leave something for his grandkids. And so with that, we did find out that he did. He provided such a beautiful inheritance for each of his grandkids. He handled his finances in a way where a lot of this money is not a part of any of the estate itself, although he does have property that, as the kids were kind of working through and managing through for the children, he had them, they had specific accounts, and those were payable upon death. And so that made things a lot easier to handle. But in essence, he was able to leave them such a beautiful legacy. And it got me to thinking, because I remember all of the times my dad sacrificed and all of the things that he went without in order to make sure that he could leave something for his children. And my oldest, who's been going through, at that time especially, was going through a lot of things. She actually got a little emotional, and she talked to me and she said, Mom, this just eases my mind for a lot of things that she's always worried about, but just knowing that there was something that she had available to her, where if things happened, she could fall back on, just really brought about a sense of peace or comfort with her. And I started to think about that because while I've never had to worry about, and I guess I'll put here, I think that there's a difference between being financially wealthy and financially healthy, and how we look at finances. So I've never been one to be very showy. I'm very practical in my thought process and how I live my life. And so I pay all of my bills. I pay them on time. And I always have money left over to take care of, anything that my kids needed, or if we wanted to go to a movie or go out somewhere for a weekend, go home for a weekend and enjoy ourselves, we were able to always do that. But I don't think that was the best thing, although it was a good thing. So I'm not worried about having a huge amount of debt, but at the same time, I did not realize the importance of being healthy. I never really wanted to be wealthy. That's just not a goal of mine. I'm not motivated by money, but I realize now that I didn't spend enough time in worrying about being healthy as far as my finances were concerned. And so while I could take care of all of my bills and my credit was good enough that I could always buy anything that I wanted, I did not have enough saved in order for me to do this same thing when my grandkids start to come. I don't have any grandkids right now, but I don't have an inheritance set up. So that started me on the track for trying to understand what my finances really look like and things that I need to do differently. So in comes July of 2022. And this is when I realized that I had a big love for Starbucks, and I started to see how much money I was spending on Starbucks every single day. And I drank Starbucks every single day. So what I decided to do, posted it out on my personal Facebook page and said, I'm going to go on a Starbucks, savings journey and just buy Starbucks on the weekend. So I didn't want to give it up all the way. And if you hear any noises, that's my doggy just in the background. But I didn't want to give up Starbucks altogether, but I decided that I was going to just have it on the weekend, and that's the only time. And I did it for this entire month of July. And just roughly, I don't have the numbers right in front of me now, but basically I saved about $150 in just not having Starbucks every day, just having it on the weekends, and no weekdays where I had to spend money or pay for that. And it started me on this journey. Wow, look at what I could do if I really just started to look at my bills and really try to pay attention to my spending and see where I have a lot of fluff built in that I could remove, so that it could lead me back again to getting this inheritance started for my grandkids when they come. And so in October of 2022, and again, I would get credit line information from different financial institutions, all the time. Hey, you can open up a credit here with us, and it's $1,500 pre-approved, $2,000 pre-approved, etc. Well, I got one from Discover, and I got one in October that said, hey, introductory offer, 0% interest until, for any purchases made from now until, which would have been October, until the end of November, plus balance transfers at a 0%. So 0% interest for balance transfers, and a 0% interest on any purchases made through the end of November. And this was with Discover. And I said, you know what? I wonder if I can do that. So I had 2 credit cards at the time. I had both of them with Credit One. I had one card that had a $1,500 line credit limit, and I was at the max on that. And then I had another credit card that had $2,800 limit, and I was at the max on that. Paying the bills on time every year, but not really getting anywhere because the interest was killing me. I think this one was 24% interest. And this one was 25, if I remember correctly. But you get the idea. So my minimum payments that I was making, and sometimes I would pay a little bit more, still really wasn't bringing these balances down. So this was my test. So I said, you know what? I want to understand what I can do here to make things a lot better for me. And so could I go use this Discover card, handle both of these balances to any purchases that I needed to make up through November, and then see where I end up and whether or not I could have all of that paid off at 0% interest by November 2023 is the date. And I decided to do it. So I had to go and make sure I could get qualified and how much money I could get qualified for. I did get qualified for the Discover. So that was yes. They ran my credit, etc. And they gave me a $7,000 limit. Now, usually this would have made me very happy, right? Because at that point, I would say, okay, you know what? I've got a lot more space in there, because this is what, 2, 3. So this was basically about $4,300 that I had to, that I would want to transfer that balance. It was a 5% transfer rate. Don't want to forget that. So it was a 5% transfer rate on that. And so I said, okay, I can do this, and I need to be careful and not go crazy with any purchases that I make through November, but I'll go ahead and make any purchases that I need to, as far as that I didn't have any money saved up for as far as Christmas was concerned. I do try to save my money, but anything extra that I needed, I was going to have that included with that as well. So, and not spend anything else, because I think the key for me was that this 0% interest for the balance transfers and 0% interest for purchases would be the only thing that I would have on this card. I would not use this card at all until November 2023, or until the balances were paid off. And so I said to myself, can I do it? And this was going to be my key to understanding whether or not this journey, I'm really as disciplined as I think I could be. And so I did it. I went ahead and did the balance transfers for both of these balances. This credit card number 22800, I canceled that one. Okay. So that one is gone. I cut it up and I closed that account. I did keep the $1,500 one because that was going to be another lesson to me. Can I go not use this one? Could I not use it? Was a question for me. So these were the two things that I was going to try and be disciplined on. Can I not make any more purchases on this Discover card until this complete balance was paid off at the 0%, so that I would not have to worry about any interest at all that I would have had to try and cover? And could I keep this Credit One card, the $1,500 balance one? Could I keep it and not use it? And so that was going to be my test. So this is, what is it, July of 2023. And just to report out, number one, on the Credit One card, that's going to get a big old yay from me. Not used. I have not used that card at all. It is in my drawer. It is not being used at all. So I took it out of my wallet, and I would say that would be the best advice I could give anybody. If there's a card that you want to keep for emergency purposes, just in case, or to keep those credit lines open so that you don't have a lot that are closing, which could have an impact to your credit, what would be the best way to do that? My way was, hey, put it away somewhere where I can't get to it. I'll have it available if I need to use it. Everybody, for some reason, doesn't take Discover. For example, Vrbo, I was looking at booking something there. They don't take Discover as a payment. So I did want to keep a card. This is a MasterCard. I did want to keep that card, one of those cards, available just in case I ran into that situation. So number one, yay for me. I have not used that Credit One card at all. It still has a 0 balance. I did have a yearly fee that I had to pay, and that was $39. And as soon as I saw that on the bill, I went ahead and paid that off. And so it is free and clear. So that was the first thing. The second thing, to this date for Discover, the Discover card. So after the November introductory offer, from that point up until now, July 2023, that Discover bill, I've got 2 wins on that. Number one, not used for any additional purchases. So I literally don't have any purchases that they're charging any interest on at this point on that particular card. And then number 2, my current balance is $755. When I ended November, when I ended November of 2022 with all of the purchases that I had, that balance was at $4,385, if I remember correctly. And to date now, I only owe $755. It's July, so I still have 3 more months, August, September, and October, to pay it off. So basically, if I do roughly $250 each for the remaining months, then I will get that covered or paid off. And then at that point, for me, I know that this credit journey, or this journey to financial health, is real, it's solid, and I'm committed to it. My hope is that I will continue to be able to use this Discover card in this way. So I do have some additional credit debt that I need to worry about. And And this is how I see it happening right now. Number one, I have a Best Buy card. And just for roughly making some approximations, I owe basically $2,100 on that. So that would be my first bill that I would try to tackle. The next credit that I would try and tackle would be Kohl's. And that one currently has a balance of $2,700. Both of these will be lower by the time September rolls around, October rolls around, and it's time for me to try and have another balance transfer. But for right now, these are where these balances are. So I would try and do my Best Buy first, then I would try and do Kohl's next. My third one will be Green Sky, and I have an account with them because I needed to replace my AC unit. And currently I owe about $5,800 on that one. So this is in the order that it would take. So Best Buy, I think I can knock that one out probably maybe within 2023, possibly it could go into 2024. Kohl's would be next, and then Green Sky from there. So that is my kind of my financial journey, kind of where everything started for me, and now where I think I'm going to end up, and the different types of credit that I want to handle. And I just want to start to track this now that I know it's real, now that I know that I'm committed, now that I know I have a solid plan in place and that it works for me, and that I'm not prone to trying to spend the money just because I have that credit available. So this is my journey, and this is the start. Let's just see where we end up.